Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I'm your host, Stev. This week we got John and Nessie back, and we've joined by special guest who's longtime friend of the channel. You probably know her. It's Geaullie. Um, we're here to talk about Jurassic Park. If you couldn't tell from the title or the thumbnail or the various backgrounds, we're going to talk about the movie Jurassic Park. And I might be a bit of a downer while we do it. Not too much, but like as somebody who is a fan of the book before the movie even came out, like again, I'm not going to crap on the movie. It's actually fantastic. It's actually fantastic. But like there are some things that are lost in translation, and I would like to talk about those just so I think it'll add to your enjoyment of the movie overall. Anyway, we're all rocking fresh looks this week, except Nessie. Nessie, you look good, great as always. But John, I'm loving the new T-shirt. I've got my new T-shirt that was a gift from a friend, and I've also it happened. I'm rocking the mohawk now. Go ahead, John. Show us your shirt.
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
Pride Month, everyone.
I ordered this shirt and was a little nervous about wearing it, but this is as safe a place as I could hope for. I hope you all like it. And side note on a different topic, I beat you to the punch, Geaullie, with my name. See,
right?
Hello, John.
Well. And Geaullie, you also look fantastic. Just in case somebody here doesn't know who you are, why don't you tell us, who you are and like whatever you want to tell
us. My name is Geaullie. I am friends of the dragons, and I have a YouTube channel. Haven't uploaded anything in there for 2 years. But I have like 2 theories out there that some might be interested in, and it's All Hail the Night's Queen YouTube channel. But that's it. I don't do a lot. I
participate. We're friends because we play D&D together a lot. We play a lot of D&D together. As a matter of fact, we played earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're also a very big fan of this movie in particular, which is why you're here, because you want to. And
yes,
we spared no expense to make sure that this stream was as great as we could possibly make it.
I'm very happy to hear that. I hope that does include security and IT specialists.
Right. Which you know what? Here comes my first thing. John Hammond is infinitely more likable in the movie than he is in the books. I will say that. Mm-hmm. Like he's kind of an asshole in the books or in the book, but Richard Attenborough is just so charming and so likable that you just can't hate him. But Geaullie, I mean, like we spared no expense. Which is his like catchphrase in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Except that Nedry is complaining the whole time about not getting paid enough. So like, it's got a very like, and there's a lot of other things he does that are questionable. It's just Richard Attenborough is so likable that you forget that his introduction scene, he's trying to make the lawyer choke on his words, but the lawyer is there because someone died.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like playing it off. But again, what a charming and lovable actor. It just made it hard to not like him. Anyway, that's where I'm going to start from. Overall, though, this movie is fantastic. Like the CG holds up, the practical stuff they did holds up, and there's a lot of really great conversations happening about science, which is a fun part of it for me personally. Okay, that's my top-down view. I'm going to throw it to our guest first, Geaullie. So you're a big-time fan of this movie.
Yes.
Give me your like overall thoughts of it, and then like why do you love it as much as you do?
Okay. I'm going to switch that around.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I loved dinosaurs when I was younger. When I was little, I was a big fan of dinosaurs. It brought some problems within the school system and stuff, but I was a big fan, and I was fascinated by dinosaurs, and I was very offended that at 6 years old, I couldn't go to the cinema to watch Jurassic Park with my grandparents and my father. And eventually I saw it at Christmas by myself, and I got scared shitless because of the goat leg hitting the window. So I ran down screaming, and then I ran up again because I want to finish watching the movie. But I love it because I'm such a big fan of dinosaurs, and these movies really brought them to life for me more than the skeletons that I saw earlier in musea. So, and then I love a good adventure movie, which this one really falls into. And I loved how they made the dinosaurs. Also, the music. Like, there's every bit of this movie is amazing. And yeah, I love the movie
because you love dinosaurs. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
So, but like, the dinosaurs are to some degree characters in the movie, but it's really, it's the people that make the movie. It's the human people that were there for hopefully at least as much as the dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a character or multiple characters that speak to you?
I mean, I love the person behind you because
this guy.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so everybody who's on has already seen it, but I'm going to show the rest of the stream now. Everybody knows this picture, but have you seen this version of it? Because I love it so much. Let me get out of the way as much as I can. It's so good. I saw it and I couldn't help it. I had to. But yeah, who doesn't love a good Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah. I also love Dr. Sattler. I used to love Sam Neill in this movie when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And then when I got older, I was like, yeah, he's not attractive being that grumpy dude like before his time. Which made me less of a fan of.
Right. It is what it is.
Yes. But yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, John? We're saving the best for last, Nessie.
Well, I will say off the bat that that Dr. Alan Grant is still my favorite character in the movie, and like I had never seen Sam Neill in anything before, but I instantly just absolutely loved him. And it's weird watching it now older. I realized that when I watched movies when I was younger, even though this might be a terrible thing to say because my dad is really great, but it almost seems like I subconsciously took on like father figures in movie characters. And the fact
I'm just going to say I think that's not uncommon.
Yeah. And so watching this character who at the beginning, he says that he doesn't like kids at all, but it only takes a little nudge, and he is very naturally someone who takes care of the kids in this movie, and I don't know, it's just something that was very, and it's his performance as well. It's a very warm performance, and I've loved him in everything I've seen him in since. As far as the movie overall, when you started off saying, you're gonna bring things down just a little bit, I'm like, don't you dare, because
Right.
because I love this movie with my heart and soul. It's and I didn't read the book until after I saw the movie. So
fair enough. And I will also say, Michael Crichton, who wrote Jurassic Park, is probably my favorite author of all time. Okay, I've read. If there's something of his I haven't read, I can't think of it off the top of my head, And this was when, I read this before the movie came out, and it is superficially the same story, but in the book, John Hammond is a little more opaquely a villain, and Nedry is a little more sympathetic.
I will say that because I did enjoy the book when I read it, but the book doesn't have that Spielberg magic, and that's
you're not wrong.
And this is a very key ingredient into why I love this movie. If you wanted a perfect example of why this has been my one of my favorite movies since I was young. It's what's being I'm sorry, but first of all, I don't blame Grant for being a douche to that first kid. That kid had it coming.
I think this is more responding to what Taker said here about the grumpy dude becoming a good dad.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Anyway, so back to the fact that the book could never have a sequence when they're approaching the island, and you've got John Williams' music soaring.
I mean, nothing can change that.
Yeah. And I just love the fact that you're not going to see something like that in a modern movie. It's a helicopter, flying to an island. It's driven by the music and by some some amusing character moments that aren't plot driven. They're there's there's flirtation going on with with Malcolm, trying to flirt with Dr. Sadler, and Hammond going, I bring scientists, you bring a rock star. It's just so funny. And then Grant trying to tie the seatbelt, and it's we've all been through that. So it's just these wonderful character beats. Yeah. All the while, this great music is soaring, and
Before you go any further, we need to get Nessie in on this conversation.
Okay,
so I'm very patient, and you're starting to get too detailed.
So I adore the movie.
Yes, Nessie, take it away, buddy.
Who, me?
You.
I mean, what am I going to say that you guys haven't already touched on?
I don't know. Well,
the top down, I do love the movie, and yes, I did read the book, and yes, I read probably not all of them like Steven has, but I have read quite a few of Crichton's novels, and I like that little bit of semi-plausible science that just tickles the back of my brain here. I thought, mosquitoes. Who would have thought mosquitoes? Mosquitoes. I hate mosquitoes. Mosquitoes can bring, have the possibility to bring back a dead clade, and I love the interplay of all the really smart people in this movie. How they're you've got Goldblum all just lean back and being all whatever, all chaotic, and says, I'm all about chaos theory, and this is one butterfly gets crushed, and then the universe ends, and contrasting very sharply very sharply with Sam Neill's character, which is how you look like, if Indiana Jones hunted for dinosaurs, this would be what he would look like. He's out in the dig, and he's very physical and stoic and just a man of science and reason. And then putting the two at odds like that to experience these, okay, this is a wonder that really shouldn't exist. It really shouldn't happen. And just to see it from both of their perspectives is really, really interesting. Ta-da.
Ta-da. So
I like that discussion that they have about the science when they're like in the beginning of the movie, when there's like, you just grabbed like some science that other people did. You didn't earn it, and then you are like not you're thinking about if you can, not if you should. Which I like the discussion about.
Which
like
I
that.
can, which
There's
it was
some
so
discussion
funny
about
because
it.
I was watching this and I'm like, I see a parallel between that and the visual effects advances they made in this movie, and where where that went afterwards.
well,
But
I love not only the idea of him, bringing up that the ethics of what you should do versus what you can do, but also that he's kind of wagging his finger at him and being like, who comes to mind for me first is Elon Musk. I'm just going to ride off the back of other really smart people.
oh, but don't, that just makes me feel so icky. I know he only plays the character, but putting Richard Attenborough up against Elon Musk, that's so. Ugh.
But like, they are spiritually similar characters who are they're hype men, not science people.
Yes, they're like,
Oh my gosh, what the hell?
What was that? That was Rob.
I think that was a dinosaur. Let me go check.
Yeah, Rockosaurus. I'm not sure what happened there, but
Oh, what was it? Oh, you made an amazing dinosaur joke.
I don't know, but the thing that I like about Hammond's character, at least in the movie, is that like this is a guy who, he's got a lot of learning to do, but you see that what he's trying to do, there's a genuine yearning to do something really special, and to that is something that he cares about deeply, which may separate him from some other real life characters who are a bit more just blatant assholes, period. And I do feel like it takes a lot, but I think, and this is not incorporating just based off of this movie and not necessarily what we see in The Lost World, but I get the sense that he's attempting to, by the end, he's wanting to go a different way with the way he views things, and
yeah, but his hubris cost how many people their lives?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that.
Right. So
that
like I can be sympathetic to John Hammond to a certain degree, as I can be sympathetic to almost anyone to some degree. But to me, he's just a rich white dude who doesn't understand, who thinks he can throw money at a thing and it will solve its whatever problem.
But Steven, they spared no expense.
Yeah, tell that to Dennis Nedry.
I mean, you're not wrong, Stephen, but I also like it's what makes him a fascinating character, that I think there is an evolution there by the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, also without without Hammond, there would not be a Jurassic Park. We would not be talking about a movie. Like, he's crucial to the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You need to have a rich hype man sometimes. But when it's when the world buys into the hype too much, like when people think Elon Musk is a genius because he,
we got to
you know what I
stop
mean?
mentioning that
Mentioning
name.
him.
It's making me feel
When they
gross.
think, when people think that Thomas Edison is a scientific genius, he's not. He's just a good hype man, and had money to, and the inclination to spend the money in order to make more money. And you do need that, but like, don't. Sometimes people like that, their ego gets the better of them, and they start to believe that they're the genius. Oh, yeah. I think Nessie is hiding in the jungle.
But I think this whole movie is filled with people who are calling him out.
Yes.
So it's not like he's not getting carte blanche from our central characters.
You're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's just the way that the movie kind of portrays him as so sympathetic. Sometimes I'm just like, but like you again.
But for me, that's more interesting.
Okay,
because
that is just a matter of opinion. So like, I'm perfectly happy to have a different opinion than you on that. You know.
Because I don't want, I've only read the book once. I'm not interested in a John Hammond that's just painted as a villain and there's nothing more interesting to him than that. I like the fact that he is charismatic because it allows you to fall under his spell a little bit. And then that's when things go to hell. You're like, no, not only is he wrong in many of his beliefs, but he needs to have that brought to his attention in a major way. That's what makes that scene between him and Ellie so satisfying, when he's trying to still insist that he can pull this off after everything that's happened, and she's like, it's still an illusion, and she really hands him his shit and forces him to sort of reckon with that. So I love the way Hammond is portrayed in this, and the thing is that requires a very skilled actor to pull it off. And Richard Attenborough, I could probably say this about so many of the actors in this movie, but this is just like, when I look back, this is one of my favorite performances, at least in blockbuster cinema, in big budget movies. He's just when he first walks onto the scene, he's just again, he's so charismatic. And when they're like, hey, we were saving that, he's like, for today, I guarantee it,
Mm-hmm. But that's also, I think, I have not read the books, the book. I think that a person like John Hammond needs to be that charismatic to get this big of a thing off the ground. You need to have a person that is likable, that people will go with the hype. If you have a more straight up oh, I'm in this for the money, and it's less likely that he gets something like that off the ground. You need to be likable, and I think that is it is good that they did like that in a movie, I think, because it makes you doubt if he's a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah, it's you could not have this could not be a Miles Braun character from Glass Onion, who is a buffoon. Yeah. It has to be someone who can actually convince people.
You're right, because maybe that is a more apt thing for me to try to reflect, because I think spiritually they are similar characters, but I don't think John Hammond is an idiot. I think John Hammond is filled with hubris.
Yes.
That's the real difference.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not malicious the way that what's his name, Miles Braun from Glass Onion is. He's not malicious the way that Miles Braun is. But yeah, it's that. Well, I'll just throw money at it until we figure it out.
We figure it out. Mm-hmm.
Which can be dangerous.
Okay, so let's talk about the music for a minute, John. I know you want to, so
Good.
we're just going to go ahead and start it now, right? You got the soundtrack ready to show off.
Which, by the way, this is the expanded soundtrack of both John Williams scores from the first two films, and it's amazing. So, if anybody wants a copy of this, or at least I know they've done a re-release of the first one, I'm gonna totally hype up the soundtrack label. Go to lalalandrecords.com and get yourself a copy. No, it's one of the greatest scores ever written, period.
Yeah, John Williams can take a decidedly mediocre movie and elevate it to something amazing.
The movie was...
Look, Star Wars, y'all. I mean, I'm the oldest, biggest Star Wars fan, a huge Star Wars fan. But John Williams made Star Wars, made it happen. John Williams did not make this movie happen. Spielberg made this movie happen. But John Williams showed up and did that thing he'd do, but
it also shows
the movie better with the music.
But it also shows how well they work together. Like the fact that I know, like Spielberg cut together that arrival to the island scene, knowing John's just gonna take care of all this. He's gonna put absolutely stunning music over all this, and it'll be great. It's just, but like, even, it's easy to point at the main themes and be like, that's why the music is so great. But it's also like, the minute the movie starts, it's like, it's got that boom, boom, it fills you with tension already as you go into that opening scene. It's like everything is just so. And like, I love John Williams from any era, but I do feel like, and this is because I grew up in the 90s, so of course, but like 90s John Williams is like, it's like, I just feel like the man can never do any wrong, but especially then, just with the stuff he was pumping out was so great. And this was when, like, this was the sound of the movies at that time. I get grumpy nowadays about, directors going for more electronic sounds and all that, but that was not the case in the 90s. The 90s, this like big orchestral sound was what the movies were all about, and nobody was better at it than John Williams.
Yeah,
I mean, the music is epic for the movie, and also to come back to Steven's point, like, I am not a Star Wars fan. I love the music from Star Wars, though. Like, the music is cool.
Yeah.
So,
like, the Force theme is going to be played at my funeral. Okay, just so y'all know.
Yeah, I don't know who did the ILM, I think, did the animatronics, right? But whoever did the sounds that the dinosaurs made,
the Foley artists or whatever, the sound mixers and Foley artists, and
yes, just making these. It just made these creatures just come so much more to life.
The roaring of the T-Rex is still just like, oh my god!
But also that soft, like, sound, like almost like purring.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's like close by and you hear that, like, this, like,
it's almost a clicking sound.
Yeah, almost a clicking sound, like tigers or something. They make that clicking sound as well. It's like, it's pretty awesome. Like, the dinosaurs, I mean, like, are amazing. So,
I mean, they're real life monsters as far as like we humans are concerned. Like, any megafauna would be monstrous, but a dinosaur is like a whole other level compared to even what our ancestors faced with, like, dire wolves and cave bears and mammoths. Like, a T-Rex is a whole different level.
And Like I do want to comment about the fact that and as you said, Stev, the CGI still holds up, but you can see that it's aged a little bit. But the fact that it's mixed in with animatronics and all that, and 10-year-old me thought the dinosaurs were real. I mean, realistically, I knew there was movie magic happening there, but I couldn't tell a difference. It looked like these were real live dinosaurs. And when the T-Rex comes down on the top of the car and smashes the window through, that was terrifying.
Yes. The kids are going to lose their minds. No crap, they're going to lose their minds. Because that is a real animatronic.
Yeah.
But
and it holds up.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the new Jurassic Park movies, Jurassic World movies, those dinosaurs suck in comparison to the dinosaurs of the original movie that came out in 1993.
Yes. Well, animatronics probably a little more expensive to create now, but it kind of
it's more expensive than what they throw into their CGI budget. But that's not to say that that is the right thing.
And I will say, when I watched this and it got to the end credits, I was thrilled by two things. It said full motion dinosaurs by Dennis Muren, who is a legend in visual effects, and it said live action dinosaurs by Stan Winston. And that is a name that when you see that, you know that the animatronics were out of this world. Amazing. And you are never going to come close to that with CGI.
It imprinted on me. That's what that dinosaur is supposed to look like. That's just in my mind. It's in there. It's that's what a T-Rex looks like with all its skin and muscles and that's how it moves and that's how it walks and that's how those velociraptors behave. It's in there, whether that's true or not. It's my headcanon on how dinosaurs behave and move and look.
Well, I mean, obviously we can't know. We can't know because we can't study it firsthand. I will say, and we were talking about Crichton earlier, and there was some discussion that his, the things he did towards the end of his life are not as good as his earlier works. And, that is probably largely true, although there are still some of his later works that I still like. Anyway, the point is, Crichton had this thing he did where he would try to take a very complicated scientific idea and write a novel that illustrated that idea. And Jurassic Park was him trying to illustrate the idea of chaos theory, how one little thing going wrong here can have a cascading effect into a completely unforeseen circumstance. And the book does a really great job of that. The movie less so, but the movie isn't trying to do that. The movie is leaning into the things that are good for cinema, and that's what it should do. Which is why the movie works as well as it does. And it is still a worthy adaptation, although, again, there are things that are lost in translation. But I will say Crichton was really careful to get his science right first and then get it wrong in the way he wanted to get it wrong on purpose, which is the right, quote-unquote, way to do it. With this particular story, you cannot harvest DNA that is 65 million years old. And if you watch the movie carefully, they don't. They get bits and pieces and fill it in with frog. Hence, these are not dinosaurs. These are entirely new animals that are meant to look and act like dinosaurs. And he's trying to fool the dinosaur experts, which is why he brings them there to begin with. He literally says it out loud. If I can convince you, that's all I need. Or I can't remember his exact quote, but he tells Dr. Grant, And he's trying to convince him. Right after telling him, well, we just filled in a bunch of the missing parts with frog DNA. So, like, they would probably get no DNA, nothing recognizable as DNA at all out of 65 billion year old mosquito and amber. But, like, when the book was written and the film was made, like, that understanding wasn't as clear.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of modern paleontologists will tell you that dinosaurs were probably feathered and they probably don't sound the way they sound in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And they may behave slightly differently than what they're portrayed in the film. But given the understanding of the day, it was actually a revolutionary way to portray dinosaurs as fast and cunning. And like when I grew up, the T-Rex looked much more upright and dragged its tail along the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it
And
was
now it's like
that's how it was always portrayed. And Jurassic Park was a huge part of the sort of shift in the way the world thinks about dinosaurs, where they went from like this to more like this, you know, that more horizontal orientation that we see in the T-Rex and the raptors in this movie.
Yeah, it balances them out when they run.
Right, because the old art was hard to replace, or the little plastic dinosaur toys that I had as a kid where they all dragged their tail along the ground.
Yeah.
Science had evolved, but, you know, the popular idea of what a dinosaur looked and acted like had not changed yet. And this movie did that. And I know it did because I was in high school when this movie came out. And I remember before and after pretty clearly.
I will say, just you know, talking about the T-Rex, you know, and the sort of public perception of how it looked. I'm just now reminded of the fact that I had a T-Rex toy from the movie, and I love the fact that it had like a chunk of its skin from the side of it that you could remove to have like a raptor like come over and bite out of it. The fact that that was on a toy, I just love that. So gruesome. But yeah, no.
Yeah, the whole DNA thing with like the whole there's been a big like conversation in the chat about, you know, looking more like birds and how they should have feathers, and then the chickens, they should have done chicken. I cannot look at a bird now since this movie. I can't look at them. Flightless birds. They're like tiny.
They're dinosaurs.
They're freaking dinosaurs. Yes.
Yeah, that's something that I don't even like consciously realize I'm doing. But every time I've seen a bird since Jurassic Park, I'm thinking about, you know,
it would eat you if it could.
Descended from dinosaurs, and I'm hearing Dr. Grant in my head.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's like they're way more shifty in my eyes right now. Like birds, I don't trust them anymore.
You can't trust a bird.
No, like those eyes and stuff is way too dinosaur.
Which, side note, and as we're talking about the passage of time, I do want to mention the fact that we did not even plan for this to be a 30th anniversary stream. Yeah, right. We just picked the movie, and then lo and behold, today is the 30th anniversary.
Oh, I knew it was 30 years ago, but I didn't realize it was today. That's amazing.
That is awesome. I didn't know that until you told me. Like, I know it's like 30 years ago, but I didn't know it was 30 years.
See, that's the real reason I was holding off on discussing this movie, Geaullie. It was all building up to this.
I mean, I'm all for it. I commend you because that's just amazing. Geese, yeah, or turkeys.
Yeah, turkeys. Okay, cassowary can disembowel a man. That's dinosaur. Okay. Also, like emus, Australia declared war on emus, and they lost.
Oh yeah.
They had machine guns, and they lost to the birds. Mm-hmm. They're dinosaurs, all right.
Yeah, but slightly depressed ones.
Yeah. There's the cassowary, guilty undertakers mentioned in the chat. I watched a whole video on all the flightless birds and how they were related. And yes, they're thinking that the flightless birds are more closely related to should be in the dinosaur category now, rather than and with other birds because they're more similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at also what I think is interesting because
It's
of
all about the two.
the clever girl is the
Mhm.
whole how corvids are so good at problem solving,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look at the velociraptors, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you got that's like if they were bigger, they would definitely hunt us.
Yeah, if they were big enough, they would carry us off to their nest and pick our flesh clean. Yes, lemons. Yeah, good one.
Lapu Lapu, I would like to respond to this. The Utah raptor. That I don't know. I actually think the Utah raptor was discovered after the novel, but before the film. The Utah raptor being the one that's the velociraptor in the movie. If I'm remembering, I am not a paleontologist. I am a nerd enthusiast of watching TV and film.
Yeah.
But I think it was after the novel, but before the movie.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but the one dinosaur that I thought really stood out from like even the rest of them was the smaller one that had the frill. I
Mhm.
love that. It's like, oh, look at me, I'm so cute.
Mhm.
Like having
Yeah.
that little curious head movement like birds do, like, and then, oh, look how pretty I am. I've got
Oh, the Dilophosaurus.
The
yeah,
Dilophosaurus.
and then you're gonna spit like corrosive acid or something. It's amazing.
Which,
I love it.
which, by the way, I like talking about things that scared me as a 10-year-old. I could not even watch that whole sequence where it kills Nedry. Lots of, hiding behind my hands. It's
Look, even the cute ones will kill you and rip your throat out.
Can I just, because it hasn't been said in the stream, but it's Newman. It's like
I
that
said that
makes it better.
As soon as I saw him on the screen, I'm like, Newman.
Yeah, it's been very hard for me to say Nedry, not Newman, every time.
well. What's funny about that is I remember one time I got into a bit of a thing with one of my best friends, Tim, when we were younger, and it was back in the days when Third Rock from the Sun was still on TV, and we were talking about it, and I kept referring to his character in that as Newman, and finally he was like, his name's not Newman. I was like, it's always Newman.
It's always
Forever.
Yeah, like I'm trying to give him his due. He's a hilarious. He's great.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
You didn't say the magic word.
And he's
One of my favorite parts is shouldn't use my name. Dodson, we've got Dodson here.
Sorry, Stephen, but yeah.
No, it's funny. It's funny.
No, and it was a very it was one of those things where you had to be there at the time to be like, Newman's in this.
Well, it also this movie
and
also
Samuel L. Jackson.
I was going to say this also stars a relatively unknown up and coming actor.
Yeah, because this
was
before Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
So
Pulp Fiction would come out next year, I think. I think Pulp Fiction is 94 and this is
94,
93.
yeah.
And the very next year he comes out like kicking the door open. It's like, Samuel, good to see you, man. Good to see you.
I know that's why in years since then I've always watched this and be like, and he doesn't have it's definitely not an insignificant role, but it always feels weird that he's one of this he's lower down on the the sort of cast list, because it's like, oh my god, that's Samuel L. Jackson. Why is he not demanding all the attention on screen here?
So I'm going to do a thing. If you have a little needle and you put it in the back of your cigarette, you can keep it between your teeth.
There you go. That's the
There
tip.
you go.
I was
See
going to
it.
say that saliva is well known to be not only a solvent but also an adhesive, depending on how you implement it.
Mhm.
You guys know mom spit will take chrome off a bumper, you know,
Yes.
You
but you
can-
can also like lick it and stick it, so it works as both. But
Mhm.
you're right, Jolie's got the like movie magic way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's also a fun, just sidebar. Um, um, Churchill used that trick by putting a pin through his whole cigar during meetings and during negotiations. That when he had like a huge bit of ash on the back of his cigar, and people would get nervous about that and would agree sooner with his proposals because they were nervous because they were looking at the ash that was almost tipping off of his cigar, which was a trick that he used.
Yeah, just ratchet that tension right up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. Love it.
But you know, once this movie like puts the gas on, it's pretty much go go go. You know, tension just keeps building. You know, all
So,
the way.
Julie, did you count the ladders?
I have seen 3
Okay.
without really like sitting there with like notepad and stuff.
So yeah, they're hidden, but some of them are not as well hidden as they should be. It's fine.
Yeah.
Movies get made all the time with much bigger
I
flaws
just
in them.
I always
Oh yeah, you go searching for. Although don't, because you know, if you don't want the magic to be broken, but go searching for all the little mistakes made over the course of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. There are so many.
Yeah. No, it was this was just a fun experience because it was a couple of years ago. I was rewatching Jurassic Park with my sister, and I never knew because I don't Google for those like to look for the faults. I genuinely discovered like I was watching the movie for the 100th time with my sister, and it was the car in the tree scene. And when they go down, I was like, I think there's a ladder there. Like it's hidden within leaves and stuff, but there's a ladder there. And my sister was like, no, that can't be. And we went back and it's like, fuck, that's a ladder. And now we started paying attention. And it's like ladders in trees, and the entire movie spared no expense.
There's no expense, right? Exactly.
Ladders in every tree.
John
But it
Hammond
was
wants you to be able to get out.
Yeah, but it was also just a fun experience to just having seen that movie 100 times and then discovering ladders in trees, and I'm like, what the fuck?
And obviously,
never
there's not
seen
like a huge number of them, but like the joke that there's a ladder in every tree because we spared no expense is hilarious.
See, he would just say those are just observation posts. We're just getting them put in so that when people come to see, you know, all of the large, you know, the large herbivores, they've got a great place to sit, a view, if you
When
would.
they go off track and fall in the T-Rex thing, there's
I will say this too, and we're talking about very specifically Jurassic Park from 1993, not the Jurassic franchise.
Franchise.
I do want to sort of like with a nod towards how this series of films evolves over time. I would like to say that this film especially, the dinosaurs are not the bad guy. No, the bad guy is Hammond's hubris and Nedry's greed. Those are the real villains of the film,
Mhm.
and more Nedry of the film, more
Mhm.
Hammond of the book. You know,
I mean, I would say that greed goes also for Hammond and the like lawyer side of.
but my point is,
No.
the dinosaurs are not the bad guys.
No.
They're just animals doing animal things.
Yeah,
And as the series evolves, they become more and more villainous in the way they're portrayed. But in this one, like they really aren't. They're just trying to be an animal. They're just trying to live their life. And yeah, there you go. Capitalism is the real villain. Yep.
Yeah, because the veil is not very thin of how close this is referencing Disney, and theme parks and like these huge animal enclosures where you can ride a monorail and see the jungle, the elephants, the giraffes, and it's pretty much like pretty.
But Nessie, if the Pirates of the Caribbean break down, then the pirates don't eat the tourists.
Correct. They don't eat the tourists, but so it is pretty thin and.
I'm just going to like I don't want to go there, so I'll just very quickly say that like I actually, even though it's not a perfect film, I there are a number of things that I like about The Lost World, but after that, they don't exist for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can do a thing, should you do a thing? Just because you can put animals in, I don't know, Florida, California, wherever, behind walls, make some type of habitat for them, doesn't mean you necessarily should, even if you're like studying them for science.
Well, say something a line that I missed when I was younger, but caught today was I should have built in Orlando.
Oh my God.
I just found funny.
I mean,
the movie was shot in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
It's set in Costa Rica, but it was shot in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And there is a story that they were about 3 weeks into filming when a Category 5 hurricane came literally like right over them.
Nice.
And apparently Sir Richard Attenborough slept through the whole thing. And when Spielberg went to him and said, it came, it went, and it was devastation, a lot of it, But he was like, "You slept? How did you sleep through that?" He's like, "I lived through the Blitz," and I'm like, you know what? And you might be, like, we love Richard Attenborough for a lot of reasons, but just that attitude of like, I slept through a hurricane because, I lived in England when the Nazis were bombing us every day. Like, okay, respect, man.
It's a brilliant line. I wonder how much use he got out of that. Because
it just that for me is the same energy as when Christopher Lee lectured Peter Jackson. I know the sound, one makes when they're stabbed in the back. It's like, okay.
Yeah, didn't you work for SOE in World War II? Christopher Lee did.
He was involved with something.
Yeah.
something not
MI5.
But I lived through the Blitz is a pretty hardcore thing to be.
Right.
Yeah. It's a good line. Like, the dude has humor. Like, I like him as an actor and stuff. Like, he looks like an amazing grandfather, but then...
Well, he played Santa Claus, okay?
Yeah.
He was Santa Claus on 34th Street.
Yeah.
He's like he's a jolly grandpa, he's...
Oh, yes. Sidebar, one of my favorite Christmas movies growing up.
Die Hard?
Die Hard.
No, the remake of A Miracle on 34th Street with Richard Attenborough.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I have seen that one.
Yeah.
And the little girl that played Matilda.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the guy from The Practice was in it too.
Maybe. It's been a long time, but yes, I do remember him as Santa Claus.
Yeah, so I think of him as Santa Claus, and then so when you see him in the movie here, he's got such Warm,
Well-
wholesome, grandfatherly vibes.
Well,
you know?
the man has such presence because I don't know if you guys you won't remember this specifically, but I was going to say, if you remember, I did a stream with Shades of Thrones of the Kenneth Branagh Hamlet movie, and Richard Attenborough comes in at the last minute of the movie as the English ambassador. He's got one line. And it's just like, you bring in Richard Attenborough when you need to make an impact with this guy who comes in at the very last minute.
I mean, he did British. I mean, he's a British theater actor. You know, he cut his chops in the. Oh God, what was it? It was one of the longest running productions. Gosh,
I don't
the
know.
Mousetrap. Agatha Christie.
I hate that game.
Really? No.
Nobody plays Mousetrap. You just build it and then set it off.
I remember I played that when I was
Building
little.
it is fun. That's the fun part.
Yeah, but nobody plays the actual game. Come on. Anyway,
I was
we're
playing with
totally off the
dinosaurs when I
rails.
was younger.
We're totally off the rails for the first time, like way out in the weeds.
Mm-hmm. That's where the mice live.
Should we do the mid-roll now? We've hit a lull. Let's just go ahead
Yeah.
and go.
Good time for that.
Hi, friends. We'll continue the conversation in a moment, but would you be so kind as to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already, tell your friends about this nerdy podcast live stream thing we do. Yeah, that would be much appreciated. Don't come back next week. It's Father's Day. We're taking Father's Day off. Let everybody have an opportunity to do things with Dad.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'll be back after that. And I will also say that I believe this is episode 198 of Here Be Dragons streams, meaning that 200 is really, really, really close. And yeah, if there is like, we haven't made up our mind about what we're going to do, but like 200, that's a heck of a milestone. So yeah, join us soon for that. Yeah, probably in about 3 weeks, because next week we won't do anything. The week after that we'll have something, and the week after that will be 200.
I'm gonna have to call in sick for that one.
Yeah, we will do. Look, we're gonna also we'll literally take a week off, an extra week off, to make sure Nessie's here for 200, because there's no way we can do 200 without you here. You know what I mean?
Big love.
It's 3 dragons. I won't settle for 2.
Yeah, that's great. So it'll be epic. We'll spare no expense.
We will spare no expense. Yeah, we'll make sure that happens. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Also, I got to make sure I say thank you to the patrons. Patrons, thank you so much. We love our patrons. They are, as far as you are concerned, literally dragons, including the elder dragons, ridiculous Ed Tollett and Lord John Bronstein the Wise. Elder dragons, the biggest, most powerful types of dragons I could think of. And just below them in power, but still incredibly powerful as far as dragons go, the elder dragons of the realm, including the Cloaked One of the Underworld, Ryan Stavka, the Russian Quartermaster, Reflective Rambling, Arch-Maester Emma, Kate, Mistress of the House of Books, Jared Kozal, Doctor of Dragons, Lady Maura Lee of Starfall, and Lady Rita the Unbound. Thank you, patrons. We love you guys. Thank you so much. I love this idea. We'll bring out the t-shirt cannon.
Mm-hmm.
We have a way of, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Anyway, thank you, patrons. We love you guys. We don't know what we're doing 2 weeks from now, John. Do you got a suggestion?
No.
Okay.
because I've got a bunch of stuff I need to do between now and then. So we'll figure something out.
Waves hand, we'll figure it out. Yeah. So, John, you have started streaming again on your own channel. Are you streaming in the foreseeable future, or are you? I know you're.
Right now, I'm taking a break. Just because I started to do what I said I wasn't going to do, which was stream every single week. And unfortunately, really quickly, I discovered that, that was exhausting me.
It's tough.
Yeah. Well, just because, especially when, if that was the only thing I was doing, it'd be one thing. But, when it's, sort of both of your weekend days, that's not sustainable for every week. So I'm taking a couple weeks off, and then I'm going to kind of be restructuring the way I do things, so that I'm not doing it every single week. And I will be making sure that I'm tackling topics that are not just so I'll fill up another week, but so the things that I feel like I really want to talk about. And
that's kind of where I'm going with this channel as well.
Mhm.
Like, I love it when I want to do it, and when I don't want to do it, it becomes this daunting thing that's looming in the distance, ahead of time, and that's no fun. So, and everybody has made it abundantly clear, like all of our regulars, people who show up a lot of the time have made it abundantly clear. They'd much rather us be happy, healthy, emotionally well-balanced people rather than force ourselves to give them, a couple hours of content while we're trudging through it.
Yeah, and it's the fact that I've also been working a lot more, so there's that as well. So yeah, but we will and get there. I still have some things on the horizon. I still going to be doing a Kill Bill Volume 2 stream with AK and AR, and also coming up maybe at the end of the month, and maybe it might get pushed back, I'll be doing a stream on the stop motion film Kubo and the Two Strings with Blue Lemons and sorry, I'm searching for for Sydney, who has been on the channel before. And yeah, so that stuff is coming. I've just decided not to assign a specific date to that. It's going to happen when it's going to happen, and
you'll have a date at some point.
Yeah,
not the day of.
Yeah, but yeah. So and I told you this. It actually worked out well that we're taking next week off, because in addition to wanting to spend the day with my dad, I'm also going to be working on the weekend. So it just works out wonderfully.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world, John.
Yeah. But yeah, aside from that, for people who came in late, I do want to show off my shirt again, because I'm very, very excited about having it. For people who don't know, this is Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. So, and yeah, just a happy Pride Month to everybody.
Right on. I do love the shirt. I love that it's pink too. I used to have a pink shirt that said all my black shirts are dirty, and I loved that shirt so much.
Well, the thing is, and I've been looking for something for a while, for some self-expression, but I couldn't quite find the right thing. And then I spotted this in the store, and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly the kind of thing I was looking for. And I love Harley and Ivy so much. They're one of my favorite couples in Medium. For those of you who haven't watched the animated Harley Quinn show, get on that, because
it's very good,
because it's fantastic.
Yeah. Even I had started watching it.
I also am going to say, hey, you might notice my shirt says, "You can certainly try." This is a reference to Dungeons and Dragons. I am a professional dungeon master, hire me to run your game for you.
Mhm.
Geaullie does. Nessie does. Blue Lemons doesn't right now, but has. Kate doesn't right now, but has. Arston Whitebread and Asha Natyara are about to have their first session with me this Thursday.
What?
I'm excited for it. Jess plays with me. This lady right here. Yep. So yeah, if you're wanting to try D&D, just get in touch with me. It's really easy. I have a lot of time to do it. I'm working on making this my full-time job. So yeah, please do. I don't know what else to say other than that. What else do we need to cram into the middle here?
I don't know, but as a person that has had you for the Dungeon Master for quite a long period now, I can vouch for Steven that he is a okay Dungeon Master. Very okay. I'm Dutch. That means cool, awesome, and all that stuff. But since I'm Dutch, that doesn't come out.
What's the word?
What's the Dutch
Sorry.
word?
Well, no, it's the Dutch word. Geweldig.
Nice. I'm geweldig, y'all.
Mhm.
Thank you, Geaullie, for that. I appreciate it.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm just always looking to add more games because I still have a lot of open real estate in my schedule, and I want to run a D&D game for you and your friends. I think that's good for the mid-roll, though, right? Okay, great.
Yep. Link is in the description.
Yeah, links in the description. It's actually the top link in the description will take you to me. You can also contact me on like Twitter or whatever. Oh, I remember we have a Slack group. It is similar to Discord, but it is not Discord. It is Slack. If you would like to join our Slack group, I just need you to send me an email to we3dragons@gmail.com. It is on the screen right now. 3 is spelled out. we3dragons@gmail.com. And I will get you in there, and yeah.
See another testimonial in the chat.
Oh yeah, people are being very kind about my dungeon mastering. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and throw it up on the screen.
Steven's great. Steven's
yeah.
great. I've been playing consecutively with him now every 2 weeks for going on what, 2 years
About
more?
2 years now.
Yeah, I think at least 2 years now.
Yeah, a little, because we started actually right after the pandemic started. So 3 years, Nessie.
3 years,
3
my
years.
God. But our game's still going strong. It's still fresh.
I want to say we started in September of 2020. Started playing D&D.
I look forward to our Monday nights. It's like the highlight of my week. It is the one day I absolutely refuse to work.
As every other one. Okay, y'all. Enough. Let's talk about Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts, because here comes the second half of the stream. Take it away while I run for a moment.
I see how it is.
Yeah, I gotta. I'm an older gentleman. I'm gonna go to the restroom. I've also been drinking my coffee. But yeah, just take it away. I'm gonna be listening in though on my phone.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, he'll pop in if we get too far off the rails. I know you. Speaking of run, how about the chase scenes in this film? I really liked how a lot of the camera work for them, and when the T-Rexes, just the weight of the creatures as they're running, it just brought me right into it and made it so believable. I think just having the animatronics helped bring the weight. These creatures are big, and just making the ground
I
literally
love
shake.
that in the T-Rex thing. I just have a tiny thing that always slightly annoyed me, talking about weight of dinosaurs. When the velociraptors are in the kitchen and they just jump on that like steel um, kitchen counter, and they make those things way bigger with a like tin opener, like can opener, freaking toenail, and there's not a scratch on the
No
freaking.
scratch on the stainless.
I just that always slightly was like, but I loved like with the T-Rex like scene when
It's a special kind of
Mhm.
stainless steel, spared no expense.
spared
No
no
expense.
expense. Yes, but
Yes, that was a very well-equipped chef's kitchen. You know
it
that
was
they.
a well-equipped kitchen.
I
But
wonder what the ice
but
cream.
the chase scene was
No,
amazing. Also,
but
in the,
sorry, go ahead.
also when you see like that the funny comments of why is the name going away, the Malcolm, um
Mhm.
when and then you see that T-Rex appearing also in the rear view mirror and stuff, and it's like I love how the T-Rex. I love that chase scene, and like again, original movie,
Mhm.
fucking amazing chase scene, and I can't stand the chase scene on the high heels in Jurassic World because you're not running away
I'm
from
sorry. What's that? I'm not familiar with that.
No,
I mean,
sorry, I mentioned it. I mentioned it.
No.
they literally caught lightning in a bottle with this movie. You know, as far as like a quote creature feature or whatever goes, this is like levels above. You know what? You know, people anything that had come up before. It's just
No,
it took it seriously. You know, it took it very seriously, and it pulled off being uh, pulled off that seriousness. Even though, yes, there were some kind of like light moments with some comedic edge, but it's kind of like you're laughing because you're afraid because you don't know what else to do. You know?
but a good creature feature also, like just like good horror movies, they contain humor because you
Yes.
need a moment of levity while you're
Yes.
scared shitless.
Well,
Exactly. Exactly.
and speaking of like chase scenes, when they're being chased by the T-Rex in the car, it's built up to with Malcolm, who's heavily injured. He's sitting in the back of the car, and he starts feeling the T-Rex coming, and the water puddles are vibrating
Shake.
slate, and he's like, I'll tell you what that is. That's an impact tremor. I'm fairly alarmed here.
I love the narration of him during that.
Fairly alarmed here.
And then he's like, come on, which by the way, is a speaking of mistakes, there's a cut there where the vehicle is in a completely different location
Oh yeah.
after that shot to where he's like, come on, we gotta go.
Gotta go.
But you don't necessarily notice on the initial viewing when you're caught up in
In the
Even
moment.
after like 100, because I never really realized that.
yeah,
But it's
it's
not letters, but not that.
yeah.
I'm not
But
looking at any of that, I'm just being. Does it still immerse me?
but like
That's
the reason why it's cut the way it is because, and obviously like the car got moved like when they go down to look at the other the car that's fallen out of the tree, but the reason why it's cut the way it is because you want that moment of humor with Malcolm building up to the T-Rex chasing after him. So it's even though it's technically an error, I still think it's cut beautifully just because of the tension that it builds up. And then when they're being chased, and his famous line, must go faster, which he repeated in Independence Day, which was great.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's funny. Like the dude itself is such a dick. Like always in search of the future ex Mrs. But he really that movie needed his humor as well. Like that humor that really like dry commentary, just a lot. I hate being right, and like,
Where Jeff
Oh.
Goldblum is really the smartest guy in the room, and because he
When-
knows he's absolutely convinced that he's the smartest guy in the room. You know,
yeah,
when you gotta go, you gotta go.
when you gotta go, you gotta go. Like those, yeah, that was what I was thinking about. I just but yeah, it's just
Bloom's got a
it
gold
makes
bloom.
it better. Goldbloom's got a gold bloom. Yes, I
Yeah.
love that. Also, who else was excited when the accountant got ripped off the toilet? Just because we're there now.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we're at that level. You know, we've already broken through the poop barrier. So yeah, I'd say.
No, but earlier in the movie, there's the moments where, and I was reminded of this because my dad and I were talking about the Star Wars hotel thing where it's like a ship and they're closing that down. And we were talking about like how expensive it was. And it's like, well, it was never going to be sustainable. And it brought to mind the scene when they're, having lunch and he's talking about, and we can charge whatever we want and people will pay. And Hammond says this park was not designed only for the super rich. Everybody in the world has the right to enjoy, coming here. And then he says, well, sure, we'll have a coupon day. And it's like, at that moment, you're like, all right, you got to die.
And in point of fact, that's the lawyer, not the accountant. That's the guy. That's the guy there to investigate.
Of the investors, right?
Yes, was sent by the investors because the guy died.
Yeah, risk management.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
we gotta have some experts in here to look at this thing before we have to start writing a bunch of checks.
Yeah. Also, our insurance is going to go up.
But this is the thing that the lawyer, he's despicable, but played so well. And he is very funny throughout. As horrible as he is, like, there's so many laugh out loud moments with his character. Like when the first time when they hear the vibrations of the T-Rex and he's been sort of napping and he's like, maybe it's the power trying to come back on.
But he has another amazing line that I always loved, when the kid is playing with the night vision goggles and he's like,
that heavy?
Is it heavy? Yes. Then it's expensive. Put it down. I love that. Like,
yes, I did. And I really don't think he was like him as a his personality was probably not the best, but I think he was actually had the right idea because he was the one who brought Goldblum in, who was a more independent scientific person to look at this, where the professor brought his two paleontologists that he had been funding their research and kind of had them under their thumb. So they were beholden to him. He's not playing by, he's playing by his own rules.
Also, but I mean, that is sketchy, extremely sketchy. But also, I think it is mentioned that the investors wanted the approval of Grant. Because he's so well respected in his field. So that may not have been entirely him, but yeah, the whole thing is sketchy with the fact that, dude, you fund their research.
Fund their research now, you'll fund it for another 3 years. You're holding that carrot out to them, and then there's Goldblum just kind of he doesn't owe him a thing, and he's telling him, you can't play God, dude, you can't play God.
He's kind of a Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes, he's throwing his bullshit back in his face. I love it.
He is not.
If we follow this to its ultimate conclusion, bad things happen.
Yeah, the rise of the rock star scientist really is a thing of that era. And it still is a thing that doesn't happen a lot now, but it does. There's a few rock star scientists today. Neil deGrasse Tyson is one. Michio Kaku is one. There's a guy called Bobak Fadowsi. He used to work at JPL.
If you're
And
this side of the pond, Brian Cox.
yes, Brian Cox. Yeah, I'm not as familiar, but I do know who he is.
Yeah, he achieved like rock star status in the
Yeah.
UK and like Europe as a rock star scientist.
Yeah, the scientist Brian Cox, not the actor.
Not the
Brian
actor
Cox.
Brian Cox. Right.
Yeah, the scientist Brian Cox with the anime hairstyle.
Yeah, not the guy that played. Who was he in? He was in Troy, Menelaus, and he was in Red.
Well, and he was in Succession, which
Yeah,
everybody's
Succession,
been going.
that's the thing.
Which I've only just started watching, but like speaking of assholes, like everybody on that show is an asshole. But that's a discussion for another time. Yeah, what were we talking about before I went off on a tangent?
I don't know. We were talking about,
Scientists, rock star scientists.
Yeah. And he plays that part really well. Like, yeah, he's got an ego and he's self-absorbed, but he is scientifically literate, very scientifically literate. He's not a research scientist. He's a communicator. And like, the rock star scientist I think it's a great thing because it increases scientific literacy, which is a good thing. You shouldn't think that Neil deGrasse Tyson or Carl Sagan or Bill Nye or Jeff Goldblum's character, they're not doing the cutting edge research, but they're taking that and they're making it palatable for the masses. And I love that they brought on Dr. Grant and Malcolm for that reason, Yeah. Because if you can convince the world's foremost expert and the like science's #1 hype man, that's a big 1-2 punch.
The amazing Dr. Sattler here.
Let us not forget Dr. Sadler.
Yes. My favorite character.
I think.
My personal favorite character.
Yeah. She's fantastic in this. And did you know that she goes on to become an admiral?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wait a second. She calls the army in at some point.
No. She's in Star Wars. She's Admiral Holden.
He's making.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Laura Dern plays the character in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Normally,
who is a admiral and fabulous too.
Admiral and fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that.
An admiral in couture.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, but yeah, Laura Dern is fantastic in this, and like she, again, I feel I don't want to undersell her. I think Hammond undersells her, which is why I'm mentioning Goldblum and Grant specifically, because those are the two that he's concentrating on, but she's the one that understands better than anyone what the actual animals present there need, what they're doing. She understands in a way the rest of nobody else there does.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of her character, and I think
that is one big pile of shit.
It is.
And she's the one who the guys are off, doing off in the park thing. She's the one that's left there. She's the one left to have the conversations and reason, talk to him.
She's actually got like, if you look at like what characters are doing in terms of like the importance to solving the problem, she's got the A plot.
Oh yeah, she's
like
get the. Yeah.
That's what occurred to me watching this that I never would have picked up as a kid back in the 90s is that, Grant's out protecting the children, which, you could argue, traditionally in Hollywood would go to the female character, or the woman character, because Amy or AR will blast me if I say female. And there I go again. But so traditionally that's what would have happened, in the fact that, like, we're emotionally invested in it because it's Grant learning how to, tap into, potentially being like a father figure and that type of thing. But it's not it's not really the A plot. But it's because Sam Neill is such a, charismatic actor that we respond to it and we're invested. But really, Sattler is the one who's like, knee deep in all of it, and she goes to turn the power back on, and she's
and she's they did a terrific job with her.
Oh yeah, she had a very physical role.
I will say that is one thing Crichton did well, generally speaking. I haven't read his stuff in a long time, and I'm sure there's some objectification of women in his work. A lot of them are, I'm sure, described as attractive, but a lot of them are given these key roles, and they're smart, whip-smart characters. Ellie Sattler is one such example, but like it's the same case in Timeline or The Sphere or The Andromeda Strain. He has never been sexist with his application of intelligence and capability.
Oh my god! And and of course the part where
I don't know, but I'm looking at it. It's like early 90s.
I'm sure if I went back and reread his old stuff, there would be some points where I'd be like, yeah, that doesn't age as well. But when you figure he started writing in the 70s, and he's got, the Andromeda Strain, one of the main characters is a female scientist. She's the one who's smart and figures it out,
Yeah, no, I'm like, she is a very important character in the movies, and I think they did a great job with her, especially for if we're going early 90s.
And the part where Hammond is like, really ought to be me going. I'm and you're and she's like, look. We'll deal with sexism in the workplace later.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah,
it's also,
it's like, why on earth would you be going? You're a helpless Hammond.
The old man or the athletic woman in the prime of her youth.
Old. I know. It's like,
who's got to like swing up into the air ducts and whatnot,
she's very capable, and I loved her in the movies as well. But Goldblum and Sam Neill are the two big cocks in the ring, and then she is basically behind the scenes doing all the
getting stuff done.
Yeah, getting stuff done.
Yeah, up to her arm in Triceratops poop.
Did y'all hear the thunder?
Oh yeah, I heard something.
Yeah, it scared me. I guess there's a thunderstorm rolling in.
That or a T-Rex.
It could be a T-Rex.
Yeah, it could be a T-Rex.
Well, Brontosaurus means thunder lizard.
Oh, and there were. Oh, nice.
That's basically a big cow, right?
Pretty much a big cow.
Oh, yeah, we went for it at the same time.
So was it the plant that killed the Triceratops? He ate something?
Yeah, it was a poisonous plant.
Yeah, I did.
It's like although to see Hammond, he would have been taken out pretty quick, considering that Muldoon doesn't even fare too well out there. Which, by the way, I love the character of Muldoon. He's he's so grumpy about the fact that he's there.
I love it. He's grumpy because they don't listen to him.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, you need to kill those velociraptors. Kill them. They're not. You can't keep them. You need to kill them. It's way worse than I've ever seen before. And it's like, no, it's fine.
He's talking specifically about the clever girl who killed all of her nestmates, when she was asserting her dominance over the rest of them,
Yeah.
She's like very much the alpha of this. But then, he's got like her more submissive.
She got her smaller
Yeah, pack. I guess we'll call it pack. I would like to call it flock mates, but
I think we should call it a murder.
a murder of velociraptors, a carnage, a carnage,
I like that.
A carnage of velociraptors.
I just, but I love so much of his delivery. Just, you know, when he talked about how the raptors were, you know, attacking the fences, and he's like, but they never attacked the same place twice. They remember, you know. It's just so good.
They're learning, they're evolving.
Yeah. And it's like they're outrunning, like they have a land speed of a cheetah, and like he is describing such a freaking like powerful, ferocious freaking like predator, and he's saying this is a bad idea, and like everything he's saying is this is a bad idea, and no one listens to him.
Well, and this is why somebody in the chat mentioned earlier, like they probably would have been okay if they had made a park filled with herbivores, you know.
Right?
You know, but they're just going all in on breeding the most dangerous dinosaurs.
I mean, I had to be happy with a duckbill and a triceratops. You know, I think triceratops was, when I was a kid, was probably my favorite. You know, of all the little dinosaurs to play with. You know,
my favorite was always the Stegosaurus. Sorry.
Yes, it's pretty
Triceratops. Honorable mention for Land Before Time.
I was just thinking about Land Before Time.
I
love the little Triceratops.
Okay,
that's our next retro. They're like tail dragging in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like, I never really paid attention to it because, like, I was 6 when this movie came out.
Sure.
So my dinosaur toys usually didn't have dragging tails.
But speaking of toys, I'm just remembering going to Pizza Hut and getting the little Land Before Time. I think they were sort of toys, but they were caps that like went on top of the drinks. And I just remember, what was the one dinosaur called who always went yep. I can't remember their names.
Petrie.
Yep.
Petrie, yeah.
No. Ducky did yep.
Okay. Yes. I think you're right.
Ducky the duckbill one went yep. I've seen this movie a quadrillion times. The first one.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, and talked about music, that was like, even though I didn't register at the time, James Horner's score for that movie probably was like the first time I can remember like the music of a movie having such an intense impact on me because it's so emotional.
You said James Horner, and there was a guy that worked on this movie called Jack Horner, and when I was watching like a behind the scenes thing, and when they first mentioned him, I'm like, come on, Spielberg did this. And then I'm like, oh, wait. Not James Horner, Jack Horner, who was like the lead. He was the real life Dr. Grant, like the foremost archaeologist who helped work on this film to keep it as up to date as they could make it for their day and age. Again, not understanding about the connection between birds yet, and you know, like, but which is part of the reason this movie holds up. They had experts who wanted to do their best, and it worked because it literally changed the way most of us think about dinosaurs.
Yeah, and lots of paleontologists got lots of money after this film came out because people wanted to, you know, fund dinosaurs again because dinosaurs got hot.
Oh, by the way, side note, and it's the last comment I'll
cool again.
It's the last comment I'll make on The Land Before Time. It's the fact that is probably the first movie that I can still remember, actually, like the first one I can remember seeing in the theater because it came out in 1988. I would have only been 4 years old, but I can remember actually going to see that in the theater. And I think part of that is because, you know, a spoiler alert, when Littlefoot's mother dies, that was so traumatizing at the time. and probably why I haven't watched the movie in a couple of years. But yeah, I remember seeing that, and it's so weird because at 4 years old, I should not be able to recall that, but I do.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't have a whole lot of memories from when I was 4. The reason that I've seen it so many times is, John, you're basically exactly the same age as my little sister.
Mhm.
She was born in 1984. So we got this was her favorite movie, and we had it on VHS. So there was a whole lot of watching this specific movie. This and The Little Mermaid.
Mm.
Yep.
Guilty has had a lot of really good comments on the chat. I can't highlight, but there's one that's talking about the last shot of the film, which I really paid attention to that last shot. With it saying, "Oh, birds, yes, dinosaurs that are still with us." Now, I'm gonna have to do a rewatch, but in either one of the next movie or or the third movie, when like the original characters, the original doctors, whatever, come back to the island, when they're flying in and they've got the pterosaurs flying in, it's almost like an exact mimicking of the birds flying away shot. I just had it in my head, like when they're coming in on the helicopter again in one of the sequels, they've got the flying dinosaurs are the
They
first thing.
also have that when they escape at some point when they escape the island again, that the big flying thing comes with them. I think it's in 2, because then Doc Malcolm goes back to the island. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'll have
Two or
to do a
three.
rewatch.
I
But
love the original.
the bird shot paralleling with the flight out and then the flight back in when they go back. It just really stuck in my head.
No.
And speaking of the birds, another great line I love is, which by the way, we haven't really talked that much about the kids, but when Tim says they're flocking this way.
They're fucking this way. Look. Oh, that kid was so annoying, but also good as
Oh no, I
annoying
love
little boy.
I love Tim.
Like they are there to be children in danger. That is their
Yeah.
purpose in the film.
Mhm.
And
They
that's
need to
okay.
make it more difficult. There needs
That's
to be a
okay.
handicap.
Like,
And also
to me, it just shows what a huge piece of shit Hammond is. That somebody died. Better bring my grandkids. I'm just like, man. Again, Richard Attenborough. God, you're charming. Because I still don't hate you.
but they're also present for Grant's character arc as well.
And also to like experience that wonder,
Also,
Okay, you know what? I should retract what I
and
said.
the girl with the computer skills. Let's
They
not
do
forget.
serve larger purpose.
And
Okay.
a little kid who's just as much in love with dinosaurs as like you were or I was when I was that age. So it's just like these are actually the target audience, except they're not bazillionaires. Maybe they are bazillionaires, I don't know, but these kids are like they would be the target audience target park members, park goers.
Okay, I will retract my previous statement. They do have more to do than just be imperiled.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, again, the kid that basically
it is raining very hard right now, and there is continuing rumbling thunder. If I lose you, that might be why.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead, Geaullie.
But the girl as well, like at the last moment, coming through with the computer skills, being that tiny little geek, the nerd, the hacker, as she was preferred to be called. I love that she was bringing the computer skills, because they made her seem so useless in the movie, but that a bit like in the beginning, like, oh no, it's like I'm a vegetarian, and like, no, that this is all you know, um, like they're making fun of her in the movie about like she's scared of the big dinosaurs. Like, okay, it's a big cow, but it's giant, and she is not that big of a fan of dinosaurs. And then
As someone who has been around cows, do not underestimate how scary just a cow can be.
Don't underestimate the size of a cow. Those are huge.
I live in the Netherlands. We have cows. A lot of cows.
But speaking of the moments in the movie where she's using her computer skills and gets the system back up and running, like that's such a great moment with the way that's cut and with the music as as she's like navigating through the different files, and the music tension is ratcheting up, and then Grant's like what works, and she's like she lists off a number of things. You name it, we got it. And the music is so exciting, and then it's like, and then it cuts out as you hear the phone ring. And Hammond answers it. It's so well put together and so exciting. So, but yeah, I'm glad she gets that.
Yeah, and it's a landline.
That's so dated. Like at this time, everyone would have satellite phones, and it's fine. Or like there's a phone connection. You have mobile phones. You have a phone mast or whatever, or satellite phones for extra security. But
that's the thing about growing up with all of that. I'm like, I don't even think about it being dated. I'm just it seems like natural for the world to me. But yeah,
I still love the movie, and I've not thought about it until Nessie said, like, landlines, and I was like, yeah, fuck, that was a long time ago. I can remember that because like I was born in 87. So, and I live in the Netherlands, which is, was a bit behind on the recent development. So I went through that phase from just only landlines to, oh, wow, I have a mobile phone now.
So best moment with the fences, when Grant goes, face
Such a dad move.
Dad move.
He did his first dad joke.
I love it. That's why I'm like, dude, you're a natural.
Yeah. Well, at that point, he's probably like Uncle Dr. Grant.
Y'all, I've got something in my throat. It's killing me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to deal with that.
Yeah, drink some more coffee or something.
But
and then right after that, the little boy is actually electrocuted.
Yeah.
And you think, oh yeah, he's the tensioning because they're switching back and forth between and you just know that he's gonna be that he's gonna get he's gonna get down because this kid was the one that was like climbing up the trees and all the stuff, and then he freezes. He's just scared of heights.
And again, as Ellie
can't look down, but.
And again, as Ellie is going through like the dark and being guided along first by Hammond and then Malcolm, who's like, "Give me that." And the music, it's so tense.
Oh yeah.
As she's just using the flashlight and following along with the tubing and stuff, and then and of course the perimeter fence is the very last thing to turn on. And
also,
so tense.
I remember watching that movie and thinking all buttons should have like all those like switches that you should put aside, and like the buttons were so like interesting to me as a child.
Oh yeah, there's nothing better than a good switch with a safety cover on top of it. That's the good stuff right there, because you have to flip it up and then flip the switch. That's good stuff. I will also say that it was when I was away earlier. You were talking about when the T-Rex shows up. That shot of objects in mirror are closer than they appear.
Yeah.
Was like,
Mhm.
and as somebody who had just gotten his driver's license not too long before that, and seeing just that written on rearview mirrors my whole life, that was such a genius piece of cinematography to show
Mhm.
that super close up and be like, "Oh, y'all think this is bad, huh?
Mhm.
Mhm.
We're
And
just gonna like."
And that's another thing that is forever altered by this movie. I can never look at a rear view mirror
Without
Not
checking
quite
for
the
T
same.
Rexes.
and not think of Jurassic Park. I
Mhm.
mean,
You gotta check your T Rexes, man. You never know when one might be chasing you down the
Well, you
down the
probably
street.
know by the vibrations.
You gotta carry your Jello for that. Check
I
your
mean,
Jello.
I've been to metal festivals and hardcore and all that stuff. You feel that shit in your chest.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, there's that thumping music that's just pressure on your chest. I imagine that when I imagined T-Rex come in, like that feeling of that deep bass, like going.
One can
Yeah.
only hope.
Mhm.
Do you think dinosaurs like metal music?
I think they'll let you know.
I don't think I'd be able to decipher if they liked it or not, no matter what they did.
Well, maybe if they kind of like, hum along with it, sound off those brachiosauruses with the,
Yeah, or like the what are they called?
Maybe not
Hadrosaurs.
speedcore.
yeah, the hadrosaurs.
The duck-billed ones. They think those are just big echo chambers in their head.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Out their or whatever out their nose because
Yeah.
they're very nasally.
Yeah, imagine a giant goose sound.
Oh, not goose. That's sus.
Yeah, no, duck is sus. Goose is
Ducks
fine.
are sus.
Ducks are sus.
Falcons, bad news. Pelicans, no, thank you.
Yeah, never trust a pigeon.
I do want to mention this is backtracking quite a bit more towards the beginning of the movie, but like I can't say enough like how amazingly executed, like when they first see the first I guess it's a brontosaurus that when they first get there and that's the reveal. Like this is, and it's CGI and you can see its age a bit, but what still makes that so amazing is the way it's staged with, and you've got John Williams music creating that sense of awe, but you've also got, they're looking up at this huge majestic thing, and like, so it's given this weight just by the way it's shot and the way it's scored and everything, so that even if the CGI is still not perfect by modern standard, although I'd still say I'll take the CGI in this versus the later sequels, just the way it's executed delivers that that sense of awe that still makes that so incredibly powerful, and why so much of this movie is still as effective as it was back in 1993.
Well, it helps that they're to a certain degree they almost feel like mythical creatures to us, and this film specifically treats them with awe and respect, and by extension fear in the right set of circumstances, but they are not villainized. I feel like as this series of films continues, the dinosaurs become more and more villainized.
Yeah.
But this film, they're really not at all.
They're showed to be like, these are just natural creatures doing what animals have
They
done
explain
for
it in the movie as well.
I
They
also
say that in the movie.
Yeah, I
Like,
also think it's not so much for me that they're like characterized more villainous as the later films go on, but it's more of the fact that, and I know to a certain extent this is inevitable because as we get used to seeing this type of thing on screen, it's kind of tempting for filmmakers to go this route. But I feel like in the later movies, they're not treated with awe. They like it's all very matter of factly. Like, here's a dinosaur. It's on screen, and there's nothing special about that.
Yeah, there's no
build up. There's no build up.
there's
no
no
shock.
moment where we're like, oh my gosh, he's got to take his sunglasses off because he can't believe his eyes.
Right.
Also,
Shock
trap-
and awe
that
was
that
amazing.
horror franchises fall into. Like the first one is like, oh
Yeah.
my god, this is a
So
thing,
good. Yeah.
and then eventually you get Hellraiser in space.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You know?
like I said with this movie, they caught lightning in a bottle. Everything about it. This piece, I mean, Spielberg and John Williams. You put the two together, and then you put dinosaurs, and it is going to be fan-fucking-tastic. Okay,
Mhm.
it's just like lightning in a bottle, and the sequels to the series and whatever have been trying to capture that spark, that awe, that wonder that we experience when we watch the first movie, and it just keeps falling
Well,
flat.
not to put too fine a point on it, but the whole plot of Jurassic World is nobody cares about dinosaurs anymore. Let's make something bigger and badder. And like beyond what a stupid idea that
It's
is.
so terrible.
But like that
watch that
feels
film,
like the
so-
movie makers going, nobody cares about dinosaurs. Like it's almost a meta commentary on the movie itself. You know?
Nobody cares about dinosaurs.
Like
that aspect of Jurassic World that capitalism will run away with it, and it needs to be bigger and better.
but it feels like they're making a meta commentary on their own film because I don't think they think people care about dinosaurs anymore while they're making a dinosaur movie.
And that's I'd say to those filmmakers, that's a fault of your own. If you can't make dinosaurs be worthy of awe, then maybe you shouldn't be making a Jurassic Park movie.
I think also that, okay, so we have the storyline. We decided to do a dinosaur, theme park that went wrong. You need to come up also with a good story for your dinosaur movie. Because eventually you're played out. You need to learn when to let it go and when to say, okay, this story has been told. We have no stories for you with these dinosaurs, so let's not make it. Let's try to focus on something new. That doesn't happen often enough, I think.
I'm staying muted most of the time because the thunder here is like not constant, but that one just scared me even.
Yeah.
God is angry at you.
Like it's most
I'm
of it is
joking.
kind of distant, but there was one that was like, look.
Yeah, it's Zeus or Thor or whatever.
Yeah, they're arm wrestling. Zeus and Thor are arm wrestling. I hope Thor wins. Zeus is a hoe.
Thor always.
Yeah, he needs a little pick me up.
Well, y'all, is there anything else to say about this movie?
Oh, yes, because it's amazing, and I love when like the end. It's for the plot, but when the velociraptors dive on top of the dinosaur, you have the epic final
battle
scene of that. The T-Rex
With the banner coming down and everything.
the banner coming down, they did their best and they did extra and stuff, and I don't think that little tiny dinosaurs even in a pack would attack such a big dinosaur, but for the movie and stuff it was awesome. I love that, and that the velociraptors turned on the big dinosaur.
That is one of my favorite moments in cinema, and this is an example of when sometime I will usually always defer to the composer, but this is an instance where editorially they decided to do something different. If you listen to that complete score, there's different music for the moment where the T-Rex comes in, but editorially they decided to bring in the main Jurassic Park theme in that moment. And it's perfect because it makes it almost like a hero moment for the T-Rex.
It's
so great.
If you look at the picture for the movie, it's the T-Rex there right front and center. So the T-Rex is maybe one of the heroes of the story. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean,
the unsung hero of Jurassic Park. The unsung hero, protagonist, the unsung protagonist of.
And then it's a great bit of dialogue. Mr. Hammond, after careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park. So have I.
I've just got to say, I want to address this comment. And by the way, fantastic name. I saw you commenting earlier. Lapu Lapu, Vanquisher of Magellan. I love this name. But I have never seen the show Terra Nova or Primeval. I got to be honest with you. My list of stuff to watch is so long that I'm happy to put it on the list. I'll tell you what. Hit me up in DMs and maybe you can convince me to watch it, and then I'll have you come on as a guest to talk about this. Because that's what we do around here. Like, you want to, great, come on, be my guest. Come join us to talk about it. You sell me on it first, because I'm not familiar with Terra Nova. Actually, I am. It is a dinosaur show, right? Go back in time and there's dinosaurs?
Back in time. Yeah.
Time travel dinosaurs, yep.
Yeah, and I see you. This is usually yeah.
Just
F the colonizers, right?
Yeah.
Even though I'm a descendant of colonizers, but they were horrible people. Like my ancestors, mostly English. My ancestors were horrible. Goodbye.
I mean,
if we could bring back extinct species, like recently extinct species, like I would really like to see a Tasmanian tiger back. If they're not, bring back the Tasmanian tiger. Bring back some of the species that we have caused
that we killed off. Like what is it? Messenger pigeons and
dodo birds
or homing pigeons. That's the one that are.
Yeah, and so many flightless ground birds on New Zealand.
Yeah.
Can I bring back some extinct species? They would be the Gelfling and the Strexies.
John.
For a season 2.
Oh, John. Never change.
What were you going to say, Geaullie? What was your vote for an extinct species?
Oh! No, forgot. Short-term
Irish
memory.
deer. I want to taste Irish deer. Anyway.
Aurochs and Megaloceros.
Yeah. Aurochs steak. There we go. Actually, they're probably not very good because they were a work animal, not a food animal.
Wild.
Yeah, I digress. The real question is, which dinosaurs do we raise as a food crop?
Well, they all taste like chicken, so
they all taste like chicken. Okay, so all of them. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, I think let's stick with chickens because I think.
Or does chicken taste like dinosaur, and we've been eating it all along and find it so delicious?
It was dinosaur all along. Y'all, that's the 2-hour mark, and I gotta be done. I am getting very fidgety. My butt needs some blood back in it.
All right. It's 8:01.
It is 8:01, 7:01 for me, 8:01 for you.
It's 2 a.m.
Right.
It's 2 a.m. Geaullie, you look fabulous. Thank you for joining us. But it's probably bedtime, right? We're getting close.
We'll be on the Zoom later.
Yes.
Let's be real here. Geaullie's going to go back to her dwelling.
Go pick up her spot on Zoom again. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I am going to take this opportunity to publicly rib Geaullie every time she posts. I'm on Zoom. I just have to hold back the temptation every time to reply, really?
Well,
No
that's
way,
Jolie's
dude.
way of, if Jolie didn't post, I would be worried. I'm like, oh, that's like her check-in. Yep, I'm still here.
I'm trying to mix it up. Sometimes I'm doing clocking in.
Yeah.
But
Trying.
anyway,
Yes.
as late as it is, thank you, Geaullie, for joining us
Yeah.
all the way from
Thank you.
the Netherlands. We
Yeah,
really
I was
appreciate
asking for this for 2 years. So.
Yeah, and happy to have you. You know, like we spread the love around a lot with our friends, but
Mhm.
you know, if you want to talk about something, jump on in here.
No,
we'll
I was like, when are we doing Jurassic Park? When are we doing Jurassic Park? Come on, let's do
Guess what? We already did it.
And little did you know, I was just waiting for the 30th anniversary. So-
Right.
No.
It was my grandma.
Right.
Isn't it? Yes. And you guys will face Velociraptors in your next D&D game because I was waiting for this.
Oh
Yay.
boy. Oh boy. Velociraptors are fun. Anyway,
Yay.
y'all, I think we're going to wrap it up there. So again, thank you, Geaullie. John, Nessie, a pleasure as always. We will not be here next week. It is Father's Day. I am a father.
Day of the Fathers.
Nessie is married to a father. John has a father. Geaullie, you need to call your dad and we've already talked. You made a really funny joke about calling your dad.
Which I'm not going to repeat anywhere.
Yeah, fine. I'm not going to repeat it here. That was between
What are you
friends.
going to call him, Jolie?
It was very funny. It was very funny. But yeah, that's what we're going to call it there, y'all. Thanks for joining us. To those of you who were here live, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you were watching afterwards, we appreciate that too, but we'd like it better if you were here live. Just saying. So yeah, nothing next week. 2 weeks from now, we'll be back with some kind of nerdy topic. We're not sure what. But yeah, join us then. And until then, you know what it is. Peace.
Peace.
And be excellent to each other.